Happy Thanksgiving. Let's talk about the top 10 things that we're thankful for as podcasters and administrators.
This episode of the Christian Principles Podcast is brought to you by the Herzog Foundation. Of course, the thoughts and opinions expressed in this episode are those of your hosts and not necessarily of the Herzog Foundation. Welcome to the Christian Principles Podcast. I'm Matt Jordan.
And I'm Mark Zockoll. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thanksgiving.
What a blessing to see this podcast episode drop on Turkey Day. What a lovely, lovely thing.
It is a lovely thing. You know what it makes me think of, Mark? Garbage can lids. And if you don't know what that is, you got to go back and listen to our Thanksgiving episode from last year.
From the repertoire, go back and check out the installation of possibly the greatest advancement in culinary care and culinary wear for a long time. Garbage can lid Thanksgiving platters. It's Matt's idea from this last episode, which is things to be thankful for. We're a year removed from that episode, and we are still excited about what we're doing.
You know, I've never really been tempted to, suggest like Christian Principles Podcast merch.
Yeah.
But I think we could make some garbage can lid platters. Just sell that. This is Christian Principles Podcast. You're welcome. That's what it says.
But I don't want to have our show associated with trash, garbage.
No, we can
refuse.
We can clean it. It's a recycled garbage can lids. Cleaning them up, make them look real nice, and they can sit nice on your table. And
you turn the handle over so that the whole thing is turned over and upside down, so the lipped edges are up.
Oh yeah.
We pull the handle, almost pull it through the center, so you can carry it from the center as well.
You can even manipulate that handle so that it fits to your legs, and so you don't even have to be at a table. You just sit down on a chair.
Oh, man.
You got your table and your plate all in one.
Table and your plate and your garbage can lid to flip over all the trash
you just
at the end.
flip it over
and you're done.
We are going places, folks.
Spent way too much time on this.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. If you're listening to this when you should be with your family, shame on you, but thank you. But thank you for listening, even though you could be with Uncle Seamus or Aunt June or whoever it happens to be. I don't know. I don't know who you're trying to
Cousin Berta.
Yeah, whoever you're trying to stay away from or share this. Maybe you're from a family of educators.
You sat down at the table and you're like, you know what? We can't start eating until we listen
to
the Christian Principles Podcast.
It's a new tradition. We're thankful for this. But in any case, hopefully...
Thank you, B-Dubs. I know that's a part of your Thanksgiving.
Yes. Brian Wilson would not be having Thanksgiving it would not be a 100% thankful, amazing Thanksgiving without us. And we know that, Brian. We're thankful for you still. All right. But getting into it, we promised you the top 10 things we are thankful for. We're going to split this up 5 and 5. So the first 5 are going to be moved through quickly, and they are going to be things which we are thankful for as podcasters specifically. And I know that this interests some of you because we've heard from more and more of you that you have become interested in podcasting.
Yeah.
Perhaps your school has picked up its own podcast, or you personally, which I hate the redundancy of saying the first person pronoun and then personally. I get on my students for that. I get on myself for that. So forgive me. But perhaps you have decided to start your own podcast about your favorite piece of trivia or your favorite hobby or whatever it happens to be. So in any case, we're going to walk through our 5, what we are thankful for as far as being podcasters. The first one's an easy one.
Easy.
And it's our partners.
Yeah.
We are so thankful for, we'll name 3 partners here. The Herzog Foundation, which gave us our footing, which allowed us to be on their podcast network, which has supported us in the way they supported us. And we're going to come away with another Thanksgiving directly related to what the Herzog Foundation has enabled us to do. The Herzog Foundation, we cannot say enough positive things about the Herzog Foundation and what they are offering to the Christian school movement. If you haven't checked them out, please take a time over this holiday break to check them out and to be a blessing to yourself and to your school. In fact, let's go ahead and cut away to the Herzog Foundation right now.
This episode of the Christian Principles Podcast is brought to you by the Herzog Foundation. As Christian educators, we know that liberty without truth is fragile, and truth starts with God. That's why the Herzog Foundation has launched the Faith and Freedom 250 campaign, an initiative that equips schools and families to connect the biblical roots of American freedom to the next generation. Having started on July 4th, 2025, and following through until July 3rd, 2026, Herzog is releasing short videos each Friday, highlighting voices from across the country, educators, leaders, parents, and everyday Americans, reflecting on key moments in our nation's history and the importance of commemorating 250 years of liberty. We all understand how faith has always been central to our country's founding and why it still matters today. It's an incredible way to integrate history, civics, and biblical worldview into your school's curriculum, especially as we approach America's 250th birthday in 2026. Visit herzogfoundation.com to view their free resources and get started today. And make sure to tell them that the fellas here at the Christian Principles Podcast sent you. Continuing on with our first thing that we are thankful for, our partners. We mentioned Herzog Foundation, but also our new partner, Gradelink.
Excited about Gradelink. Excited about partnering with the school information system that supports schools like the one that Matt is a part of, like the one that
right now
my children are a part of, and like many of your schools out there that are looking for a very specific option that fits their school. Check out Gradelink. Check out the learning management system. Check out the enrollment system. Check out the financial system. All of that available to you through Gradelink as a school information software. And again, we're going to talk more about that later, so we're going to leave that there for now. We also want to express Thanksgiving for Birch Branding, for Rhiannon from Birch Branding, also Christian School Social Media. Rhiannon has been wonderful in partnering with us and allowing us to focus more on this podcast and the content of the podcast, and taking a lot of what is just a necessary part.
Yeah.
Necessary is too strong of a word.
Well,
what is a useful and engaging part of what we do, and making us look so much stronger on it than we ever could.
Getting us out there so we can find more of you and you can find us.
Which is the mission. So
Yeah.
she's helping us pursue the mission, and doing so at a higher quality than we had been able to do before, and that's a blessing.
Or would ever hope to. Yeah.
Yeah, or they would hope to for a while. So first up, our partners. Thank you to our partners. Second up, Spotify. Spotify isn't providing us with any sort of branding or help in
sponsorship
in this statement right now. But we personally are thankful for Spotify. And if you're thinking about dipping your toes into the waters of podcasting, before paying for a service to distribute your podcast, think about partnering, think about using Spotify as your hub for podcast distribution, because podcasts can be distributed through an RSS feed on Spotify or through Spotify for free. And not only that, but of course, Spotify allows for, or already has inherent to it, one of the largest podcast listening bases in the world.
Right.
So avail yourself of Spotify, but not just because of the tools they offer us, but because also they're presenting us the opportunity to archive a piece of our lives we never really thought, never cared to think, never considered that would be a part of our lives that we would want to archive. And as we've been doing this for a while now, I've been challenged by those who would say, get your children involved with what you are doing at your work early on, get them thinking about what the family business is, what what your wife does, and that sort of thing early on, and give them glimpses into the workforce, and glimpses into what their parents do, so that maybe that's what they want to do. And this podcast helps me do that to some extent, helps me to express what knowledge, hopefully wisdom, God has entrusted me with, and to archive it.
It being Thanksgiving, thinking about family, I had a great grandfather who was a one-room school teacher.
Well, there you go.
And just recently I was able to get through some material that he would give away to his students, and kind of looking and getting to kind of for the first time see what his thoughts or his input towards education were, apart from just knowing he was a teacher, what I wouldn't give to be able to hear him teach a lesson,
Wow.
or at least hear his thoughts. He was also a school board member for a long time, and be able to hear kind of his philosophy, his methodology, and hear if my kids ever care about it.
Yeah.
They could pull up the Christian Principles podcast and hear what their dad had to think. Maybe my great-grandchildren say, oh, I can't believe my great-grandfather was an administrator at a school.
Yeah.
And we get to do this.
They'll be post-internet.
Yeah. And I don't know how they'll access it, but it supposedly will be out there.
What we think of cassette tapes or 8-tracks or whatever it happens to be, what they think of as podcasts and the internet.
Yeah.
But what you bring up about your grandparent makes me think, once again, listen to this episode with your family, because you probably, if you are an educator, I'm sure there's some great likelihood that you are in a family of educators, or there are people around you.
Yeah, very likely.
That are admins or educators or married into or something like that. So, all right, well, next up, we've talked about our partners on Spotify. Next up, we're going to move to Riverside Studio. We noted previously that the Herzog Foundation has enabled us to present ourselves more professionally than we ever, again, I don't want to say ever, but that we were even close to previously.
I would say for a startup, we got it pretty good.
We do. Absolutely. And part of that, again, thank you, Herzog Foundation, for the partnership there, providing us with access to the Riverside Studios, which allow us to, and this is the best part, when we first started and we were on Audacity or any one of these other systems that was, you look at the wavelengths of the voice go across the screen, and you are editing a wavelength that is not attached to any visible word. The change from the wavelength audio, no word, no text editing, to text editing that has smart captured your audio and is translating that into text, and then you're editing the text as opposed to editing the wavelengths. Like, I'm sure that's what school principals and administrators felt like when they moved from paper and pencil school information systems to automated digital school information systems. And we'll talk about that later as well. But in the immediate, that has allowed us to in-house, each of us doing editing, push out professional sounding episodes. Hopefully you think our episodes are professional sounding.
I'm sure.
In a way we wouldn't have been able to at all previously.
I will definitely confess that I'm sure there have been a couple where I let a few things slip in, like, oh, I'm going to say that over again. Let me start that. You can cut that out. I'll say I may have missed one or two of those, so I apologize. But one of the things, bringing up the visual word that goes along, is one of the things that I'm always not enthused, but I am, brings me joy, is all the different ways that Riverside attempts to spell out the word Zockoll. And every time it says, it's something drastically different. I feel like it's unique every single time,
which is incredible, because it's like
really fun.
150 times at this point. But yes, I realize that as well. And they will never understand that we are the Principals.
Yeah,
the Christian Principals podcast, not Principles. And we get that. We started with that knowledge that it would forever be fighting that battle, but it is what it is.
Got it.
So we've talked about our partners, Spotify, Riverside. We're thankful as podcasters to do non-podcasting this year in a way we had never done before.
And even though it's very much tied to the podcast, but we have as a goal of a podcast to get into the ears of every administrator, Christian school administrator, at least in the U.S. And what's very closely tied to that is being able to rub shoulders with other administrators when we have opportunity to do that. So we have been able to attend multiple conferences this year, both as a vendor for our podcast, but also as workshop presenters.
Yes. Been able to present at the KCEA conference, the Maxa South and Maxa North Conference, which are both in the north, but just southern and northern.
Sure.
And then, of course, at the Old Dominion Association of Christian Schools, ODAX Virginia Conference. And what a blessing these opportunities have been to, as Matt said, rub shoulders with, face-to-face with, record teacher shout-outs to their favorite principals. All of this making us stronger, Lord willing, making them stronger. And the conversations had at those workshops, again, at those workshops, but as well as just at our table, such a blessing. And we'll point back to them again. We wouldn't be there without our partnerships to this point. So we're thankful for our partners. So the last thing we're going to point to as podcast hosts, but which we are thankful for, is going to be you, our audience. It's cliche to say. It's easy to say, but
yeah, no, we wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for you guys. So.
I thought about that. Would we have this conversation as frequently, as pointedly, with as much preparation if we had 10 followers? And the answer is no.
I mean, I would like to think that we'd have that much. I don't even know if integrity is the right word, because that might be. But yeah, I mean, we would be having the conversations. And again, but even if it was just the two of us not recording, no way we'd have this many conversations.
Yes. Yeah, we would. I mean, not alone. Not outside of the fact even that some of the conversations we've been having recently are because we're on a trip to go show an exhibit for the podcast or something, to be workshop presenters because of the podcast. Even outside of that, as Matt said, our conversations probably would not halt. Our conversations would not be, they wouldn't not exist. They would absolutely exist. Yeah. It's more so the pointed pieces of, I wonder what everybody else thinks about this, so we should talk about this. Or
I could totally see you, though, if we didn't have this podcast. I could probably still see like a Tuesday night text. Hey, we haven't talked yet this week. We need to talk.
We should figure this out. Yeah,
I can still see that text coming regardless.
I need to check it with you right now. I know I'm in no position to do so by demand or fault. I just need to talk to you right now. So that, sure, I agree. That could happen.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
To us. And hopefully you have found enough enjoyable and helpful, encouraging, that you would pass it along to others.
Please do.
That would enjoy listening.
Pass this along to a peer for us at Thanksgiving. If you've been meaning to push this out to somebody else that you think would be encouraged in it, and remember, we'll send them that canary envelope of encouragement if you do. We would love to pick up their ears as fellow Christian school principals, heads of schools, administrators, vice principals, whatever it happens to be. We would love to pick them up as listeners. So maybe this is the time when you have a moment on your Thanksgiving break to do so. Please bless them and bless us that way. Moving on to the 5 things which we would say as Christian school principals, administrators, heads of school, we would be the most thankful for.
Well, before you start, I think we just need to also clarify.
That's true.
That
this does not mean I'm not thankful for my wife.
We're thankful for our wives. We're thankful for our kids.
Yeah.
We're thankful for our churches. We're thankful for our relationship with the Lord.
Yes, our Bibles. We are thankful for.
There's a lot. As we were going through our list, we're like, okay,
we got to take those off the table.
We got to take those off the table.
Yeah.
I just presented this as to students in a class of like, I want you to. Basically, I'm asking them for their top 3 favorite things, but I have to clarify, like, granted, I know you love Jesus and I know you love all these other things. I want to get kind of beyond that. So that's what we're doing. Yeah. We want to be like we are in the podcast. We want to be super specific about things that are in particular to us right now. We find that we're really thankful for.
Thank you for stopping me and qualifying that, because yes, that is no small statement. When we were thinking through the 5 things split between the 2 of us, 2 apiece, that we would be most thankful for, what I am, again, don't want to say most, but what I'm extremely thankful for is a school information system. I referenced earlier that moving from the voice wavelength editing of a podcast to a textual editing of a podcast was night and day difference in terms of time. Quite literally, I would spend a couple of hours editing out a half an hour of a podcast, and that time then became less than the time of the original podcast, especially listening to it at 2 or 2.5 speed or something like that, because of what Riverside allows for me to do, that textual editing. Well, I was not in a school that didn't have a school information system ever in my leadership. Some of you had, and I would love to hear those
That would be
stories.
very interesting.
Please come on and tell us your story of what it was like moving from pen and paper to the digital school information system, the learning management system. I'm just thankful for the degree of aid, which was moving from one that was providing less to one that was providing more. And specifically Gradelink, our current partner, and the learning management system for Matt's school, for Faith Baptist School, and the opportunities, which are, I mean, the Gradelink's mission statement in part is to allow schools to further pursue their mission by offering the administrative, by easing administrative burdens. And that's exactly what an SIS well used does. So I'm thankful for SISs, and I do not ever want to go back to paper and pen. I don't want to go back to filling out my kids' forms for anything from emergency forms to athletic forms or anything like that. I want all that to be as digitized as possible. So I was at the dentist's office today filling out forms for my children, to have filling out forms for my children to get their dental work done. And without exaggeration, I had 10 pages of forms to fill out. And in those 10 pages of forms, I was asked questions, which first of all, I did not finish that until my second daughter was sitting in the chair and she was having her teeth cleaned. And the dentist asked me at that point questions that I had literally just got done answering on the paper and giving to it's not a nurse, but the tech, the aide. Forgive me, I'm forgetting the name of the person who comes in before the dentist, the dental hygienist. I had handed the dental hygienist that paperwork, and the dentist is asking me the same thing. I wanted to be like, either don't make me fill that out or read it for yourself.
Yeah.
But in any case, Matt, SIS, that's what I'm thankful for.
Huge. It's massive.
What are you thankful for? Number 7 goes to you. What are you thankful for? I had number 6. You have number 7.
6,
7.
Oh boy.
Oh my goodness. You'll get that.
One day, we will be beyond that. In many ways, I mean, having gone through accreditation this past year, but also just, we face a lot of things as administrators, which often come with some kickback. One of the things that I have found that I am extremely thankful for are our various policies and procedures manuals. Now, I know you might think that's kind of a lame answer, but if you're thinking that, you probably haven't been an administrator for very long. But yeah, administrative manuals that help us not have to recreate wheels all the time. We can go back and see, why are we doing what we're doing? What are we doing? And if somebody has a problem with what we do, we go back to say, well, that's our policy. That's our manual. So just finding an extreme value and having things clearly documented.
Oh, I love it when a theme of the podcast comes back to roost. Write it down. Did you write it down?
So much.
Is it written down? Absolutely. I 100% agree. But we'll move on to number 8, past 6, 7.
Thank you.
Past 6, 7. We'll move on to number 8 now. And number 8 is going to be B&B. I'm thankful for B&B. Now, we've already mentioned one of the B's before. B-Dub Brian Wilson. Big B-Dub Brian Wilson. I am thankful for Brian Wilson and Brad Parker. Now, these two hold a special place in my heart, as they do with Matt. But Brad Parker was one who, as a young administrator, did not despise me for my youth. And I've mentioned before how he actually offered me an opportunity to hear out an idea I had for a state association event. And then we wound up implementing it, and we have since that point. Brian, much the same, did not despise me for my youth in those early days of sitting on the Max State board, but further has been one who has almost unknowingly, probably unknowingly, broken off certain sharp edges, not by confronting me, not that I'm opposed to confrontation, but not by confronting me, but by living before me an example of what an administrator ought to be, could be, taking firm stances against things. And this, I think, at some point comes with age and generational knowledge, generational wisdom. I may well not be willing to call out a parent because I'm thinking that they're thinking I'm too young, or I was unwilling to take a stance professionally because I was told I needed to take the first year and just be there and not. But he, in his stature at his school and his assuredness of his purpose, which is a very instructive to me, was more than willing to, in an appropriate way, so does not lose constituents, take stances, not cut corners, and to make his school stronger. And that was hugely instructive to me, and continues to be hugely instructive to me now. So I would say mentors, specifically for me, the Bees, Brian Wilson, Brad Parker, but I could name so many others as well who poured into me. It was my pastor and the deacons at Faith Baptist Church and School, which gave me my first opportunity, and there was trust there, and there was love there, and so they were, of course, much more hands-on mentors immediately than the Bees. But I'm thankful for those relationships, those mentor relationships. That's number 8.
Those were the R&Rs.
That's right.
Yeah, the BNB and the R&Rs.
The BNB and the R&Rs, the Rons and the Rons and the Robert. I feel so bad saying Robert as opposed to Pastor Reiner.
But yeah, even as I was thinking about different mentors I have, maybe you think of mentors you have, and perhaps one of those mentors is an active administrator that we haven't shouted out on our podcast yet.
Yeah.
Send us your mentors, preferably that are still active in Christian school administration, and why, and we'll include that in our shout out. We'd love to do.
Absolutely. We'd love to do that. In fact, you can send them to info@christianprinciplespodcast.com. No, I couldn't think of anything longer, so we use that one, info@christianprinciplespodcast.com, or find us on the comments of this video, or the comments of the Spotify episode, comments of the Apple Podcast episode. You can DM us on our social media accounts, Instagram and Facebook. We're on Threads now as well.
Well, there you go.
By the way, we're also there. Just find us, send us information. We would love to hear from you about your mentor in the game.
Or send a homing pigeon if that's what you do too.
It might not make it back to you. Because
I'd be really impressed.
I'd be really impressed. Absolutely.
Because I'm telling you, if a pigeon flies into my window, I'm probably not grabbing a message off its leg. So,
well, Matt, we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
8,
and now we've done 8. So
now we're on a 9.
What's on the 9?
And 9 maybe not ball.
Okay.
But even as we currently are now driving, when we're thinking about things we're thankful for whatever reason, one of the first words that popped in my head is commute. And when I think about, even in the early stages of the podcast, but especially in my early days as an administrator, the time that I spent in the car by myself driving to and from school is extremely important. And I still find it valuable, extremely valuable. Sometimes I do have to bring my kids with me. That makes it a little less valuable. But the time that I get to, number one, spend time with the Lord, pray, or just talk. A lot of times my prayers just end up being talking in my community back and forth from school. or listen to an episode of the podcast, or just even talking something out with something that's a strain or a struggle. But that time, which to me right now is 15 minutes, like it's not that long. And it's been longer. I've had a longer commute, but that's been extremely valuable. And in talking with other administrators, I have also heard from them that even the podcast has been helpful, where they have enough time to get about an episode in on a trip or there and back again or something. But and I know one of my principals mentions all the time about just praying all the way to school, praying all the way home. Just a really valuable time that is not often going to be interrupted by other things. So I don't know if you're maybe one of those administrators that your commute is a walk across the yard, but for me, a 15-minute drive is a beautiful thing.
My commutes were all of 15, maybe 17, 18 minutes, and then a full on 35 to 40 minutes.
Shoo.
So those I can vouch much the same, especially when you said sometimes you do it with kids. Those longer drives for me were not as with kids, because there were originally, I believe it was Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then my second year of that 35-minute drive, it was every Wednesday. I didn't have my daughter with me for pre-K 3, pre-K 4, but then in K 5, but then now those commutes are always with children,
Yeah.
and they were always with children. So yes, absolutely. I did feel bad about the tablet time for those early rides with her, but there were definitely sacrifices to be made, and tablet time became one of those sacrifices on those trips with her, because I either needed that time or just she was so young. I felt bad for her.
So young.
Such a long drive, relatively speaking. So I love it. I love the commute. Now, number 10,
Big 10.
whether or not we should have said this earlier, or it was because Matt said commute and we had C on the mind. We don't have these in any sort of preferential order necessarily, but we hit the big C for number 10, and that's Canva.
I do think it's kind of funny that you never would have thought of that word coming out of our minds as the last thing we're thankful for.
It really
as administrator.com.
Canva.com. Listen, many of you have a full team of people under you that you get to delegate just all the duties, and you're able to hobnob as you need to and be with influential heads of state and big donors and all the rest.
You dirty dog.
You get to do that, and that's awesome. And I'm thankful for you.
I mean, yeah, it's a blessing.
Now, relatively though, even some of you big dogs, I know you have like social media accounts that you still do a little bit of graphic design on. And for all of the rest of us who probably are wearing a pretty serious, if you are a principal, you're definitely wearing this hat. If you're an administrator or a head of school or something, or perhaps a dean, and you're wearing this hat to some extent, or you're sharing the duties, you probably have become more involved with graphic design, or wish you were more involved with graphic design than you ever were. I can point to very specific times in my life where I wish I had known Photoshop better than I did. But once Canva came along, I don't look back on those times of not knowing Photoshop anywhere near as ruefully as I did, because Canva is a blessing.
I can honestly say, like, there are so many times where I'm like, should I get Photoshop? I feel like I can't do anything if I don't get Photoshop. I have saved so much money by never pulling that trigger. And then beautiful Canva comes along. And granted, I don't want to compare the two, but with what I need to do and what it makes my products look like, so thankful. And not only that, but like Canva for education, like because I'm a teacher, I get free accounts, free access to premium
all the
stuff.
pro stuff.
Like you can't.
It really is. Canva has helped our first designs for this podcast episode.
Canva.
My HOA newsletter right now that I come up with, Canva. The different awards that we pass out as a state association at least may begin.
Well, even as our school,
Yeah.
our certificates that we give out, Canva.
Canva.
Done.
And they don't have to be cheap knockoff templates. It very much can be branded as we would want it to be.
Yep.
And I thank the Lord for Canva.
Very much.
Very much so.
Very much
I've
so.
even had personal. I even use it for like gifts or what. If I'll go on a TeamU, I just did this with my current first level boss, Shannon Juris, Dr. Juris, first tier boss, Dr. Juris. I went on a TeamU and I made her a happy birthday Hawaiian shirt that had pictures of her face, little blooper pictures of her face from an event that we did, an event we attended together. And I put that on a Hawaiian shirt and gave it to her on the day before her birthday so she could wear it because we weren't in school on her birthday. And I did that on Canva. And I translated that over into TeamU. And I got a shirt sent to me quickly at crazy low cost for a personalized shirt. And Canva was in large portion to thank for that.
Yeah. I mean, even just simple things like somebody needed a picture of somebody that we were going to write cards to, and found a picture online, put it in a nice Canva collage, couple pictures, put some text on there. It looked like a really professional slide just for that, like less than 10 minutes. Boom, done.
Canva making me look good since 2021, 2022, whatever it is. For me, anyway. I mean, maybe for you it was longer. Anyway, we're going long, but it's Thanksgiving, and we're telling what we're thankful for. There's no better reason to go long than to be offering to you all that for which we are thankful.
Yep.
We're also thankful for our Christian administrator to get spotlight today, and that's going to be Mr. John Kuebler. Mr. John Kuebler is the head of school,
superintendent.
I'll get these abundant life titles right soon. But the Mr. Kuebler, Pastor Kuebler,
there you go,
is the superintendent, also on the pastoral staff at the church which houses Abundant Life Christian Academy in Nutley, New Jersey. As mentioned on a previous episode, we were able to speak and to meet and to speak with him at length and just be blessed by the journey God has taken him on and his understated, his humility, his pointing others to Christ, pointing us to the gospel, so evident. And then just to laugh along with him and other things that we were able to talk about as administrators. What a wonderful thing. So I'm going to pray for you now, Mr. Kuebler, and then we're going to say goodbye. Father in heaven, I thank you for men and women we have become faster friends with, professional peers with, who we otherwise never would have been due to this podcast medium, due to the opportunities we have been able to engage in through this podcast or because of it. For our partners, for our families, for those peers, and especially for Mr. Kuebler tonight, we are so thankful. Bless him. May Abundant Life be abundantly blessed because of him, because of the ministry you have called him to, as he continues to be your hands and feet there to the people right outside of New York City. Lord, in your will and way and time, show him the next steps for his life as he was having some considerations about going back to school and whatnot. Give him your grace and understanding. Well, thank and praise you for it. We ask all this in the name of your Savior, your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right, folks. Thank you for joining us today on your Thanksgiving. Thanks for going with us today.
We want to thank you for listening. We're honored that you spend this time with us each week. Our heart is to bring you practical conversations and resources that really serve you as a Christian school leader. One of the best ways you can help us spread the word is by leaving us a review and sharing the podcast with other Christian school principals you're connected with. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Join the conversation and share any posts that resonate with you. Every share makes a difference in helping more leaders find encouragement and practical tools. And remember, the podcast is just one way we help. We also love serving schools through speaking and workshops. Our keynotes and sessions are designed to give you actionable strategies you can take back to your team and implement right away. If you'd like more details, just send us an email at info@christianprinciplespodcast.com. We'd love to connect. Until next time, thanks for joining us on the Christian Principles Podcast.